Mr. Apple, are you talking? Because we can't hear. I doubt you're talking. I don't know, but I can't hear
Hello.
you.
How about now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
No, I
Turned
can't
around.
hear
All
him.
right. Okay, there's always one more step. One more step. Microphone. Hey, there we go. That's okay. You didn't miss anything important. Just making sure everything was all set up. All right. Today is going to be pretty simple and straightforward. We're going to go over the answers to yesterday's exercises. I've got a short quizzes for you over these concepts, and then the rest of the day will be yours to work on this week's homework. Okay? So go ahead and take out your work from yesterday, the Law of Contrapositive. And here then are the results. So exercise number 1, P then Q, P, therefore Q, that's straight modus ponens. Even use the classic letters. Number 3, if P then R, not R, therefore not P, that's classic modus tollens right there. And number 5, if not R, then not S, not R, therefore not S. This is also modus ponens, despite the negations. As long as these two match perfectly, it's modus ponens. Number 7, not P, then S, not S, therefore P, that's modus tollens. A little switcheroo on the negation there. Number 9, we've negated the hypothesis here. That tells us nothing. This is not valid. No valid conclusion. I've gone ahead and abbreviated there. I don't know why they abbreviate the rest of the laws, but not no valid conclusion. You got me on that one. And then number 11, if S then P, if R then P, they share the conclusion. That does nothing for us. No valid conclusion. Any questions on that page? All right, moving on. Number 13, if P then Q, if Q then S, and if S then T. Therefore, if P then T. That is law of syllogism done twice. We've combined these first two. You could make a if P then S. Then you could combine P to S, S to T, combine again to make P to T. Double law of syllogism. 15, if not Q, then not R. Q, again, you've only negated the hypothesis. That does nothing. No valid conclusion. 17, similar problem. If R, then S. We've got a conditional result. They've switched it. Instead of R, then S, it's S, then R, but they've negated only the hypothesis. You need to negate the other half as well. There is no valid conclusion here. Almost, but not quite law of contrapositive. 19, if R then P, if T then not R, they conclude R then T. They're trying to do some kind of law of syllogism here, but these don't connect. They don't pair up. That's a P, that's a not R. But you're still starting with R, that's not a valid conclusion. They do not match. Now, 21, Probably the trickiest one here. 21 has if P then Q, if not R then not Q, therefore if P then R. We could use law of contrapositive on this statement here to create if Q then R, right? And then combine if P then Q, if Q then R, law of syllogism to condense that to if P then R. So it's a combination of the two that lets us do that. And they're pulling a Sherlock Holmes here by not showing the rest of their work in between. You just skip to the conclusion and it looks more impressive. All right, 25 then. From the Venn diagram, you could say if a figure or if a thing, if something is a triangle, then it is a polygon. That's one way to write it. That's not the only way. You could, of course, write the contrapositive. If something is not a polygon, then it's not a triangle. That would work too. And then finally, 27, as I alluded to in class, you could write two very similar logical arguments that show modus ponens combined with law of contrapositive is equivalent to modus tollens. So here I have if A, then B, and not B. By law of contrapositive, I can say if not B, then not A, changing that conditional around. And then modus ponens combines not B with this to conclude not A. Whereas I can start with the same premises, if A then B and not B, and conclude straight to not A from modus tollens. So from the same premises, I get the same conclusion. Therefore, these two arguments are logically similar, congruent, there's another word there. Equivalent, I guess they're logically equivalent, right? They get to the same place from the same starting point. The exact path you took didn't make a difference. So again, that's one way you could show that if you wrote it out in more words. That could work as well. What questions do you have on that page? All right, if there are no questions, then let's go to the quizzes. This quiz is on the conditional, converse, and inverse, and contrapositive. So all those vocabulary terms from yesterday, you're going to be creating them, identifying them, both in statement form and in symbolic form sometimes, so recognize those. You may use your notes. There are 14 questions. Please go to joinmyquiz.com and enter the code 987333. Joinmyquiz.com, 987333. Give you one more minute to join in. And 6, I think that's everybody. So here we go. And just to reiterate, yes, this is all we are doing for classwork today. When you are finished, go ahead and start or continue on this week's homework exercises. That'll do it for the YouTube.